picture of you, you just stick it on the side. You can't harm it. They're basically indestructible. So this has been down maybe 700 times. And I have the little protective collars on the engine guards that helps us, but really don't really need it. So most people on my team don't use them, and they'll just get new engine guards every couple of years. But the collars, there's a guy in the States who makes them. You can actually get them really inexpensively. They're called shaft collars, and if you get the right diameter, the only tricky part on a Harley set of bars, they're like oblong. So to get a machine set, but afterwards I can give you the guy's name and number if you ever want to practice that. But you can definitely practice with your motorcycle. If you have like a Softail or whatever, or a Sportster, you can put engine guards on the front, which is just a hell of a good idea to save your feet and legs. Rear bag guards help a lot too, but basically a Road King is completely indestructible. You just tip it on the side, no problem. So then to pick one up is not really that hard either. And since I do it like 600 times a day.
And I need to try, is this bike in gear?
Yeah, well, that's part of the checklist. So it fell on the non-kickstand side. So the procedure is, make sure the kickstand's out, because you look really stupid when you pick up your bike and it flips over to the other side, right? And so Dave's a little guy and he's not really that strong, which is a total lie. But all he did is put his butt against the seat and walk backwards. So there's no lifting per se. So a couple of the best riders in the United States and North America are ladies. 2 of them are on our team. And they drop theirs 1,000 times a day as well. She's like 95 pounds. And she just puts her butt on the seat, walks backwards, and up it comes, no problem whatsoever. What are the widths?
Just gotta be a little more careful.
Oh, try it.
Yeah, we just gotta be a little more careful.
Notice how Dave puts his down really gently.
This thing is pristine. But basically, as long as it's in gear, it's not a big deal. You put it highway 100.
Yeah, so first he checked to make sure it's in gear, because it looks silly when it rolls down the hill when you start picking it up. And now he's got it up, he just turns to face it, put your kickstand down and go down. So, one of the big things you talk to a lot of riders, I've never dropped a bike ever, right? And that's a badge of honor for a lot of people, and that tells you they've never practiced, they're not really a really good rider, because they've never really tried to get good. And so you always want to push yourself just a little bit. You don't have to drop your bike. Just get in a parking lot. Even 4 parking spaces is a real staple for us. Being able to do a U-turn in 2 parking spaces, be able to do a figure 8 in 4 parking spaces that are connected. Those are really good starting points. Whenever you see the lines on a parking lot, you try to go full lock to lock, straight up and down on each line, every 9 feet, and just get used to transitions. So one of the things Dave is like super good at is his transitions, how fast he can snap the bars from one side to the other. And that all comes and starts with a little bit of parking lot practice to do that. The other thing that's probably really worth, and I touched on it, but I'll get Dave to sit on his motor with the kickstand down, is just show the body position. So normally you sit back and you've got no control over the motorcycle, so he's basically in an off-road type position. He's in the attack position on his arms, his butt is right up against the tank. So now his pivot point, if you look at all the body mass, it's in line with the engine. And all of a sudden, you'll get surprised because the motorcycle will turn right underneath you. And that's how we can turn so quick without having to use a lot of muscle or inputs. Well, most of the seats will have like a little tongue on them that comes up against the tank. That's the magic part. That's your bicycle seat. And as soon as things get slow, or you want to do U-turns, or you want to get into a gas station, you want to get out or control the motorcycle more, you want to get up on the tank. The police seat, you can raise it up at the back a bit better, and you're not stuck in that valley of the seat, and so it just makes it for competitions a little bit easier. I wouldn't, if I was on my touring motorcycle or whatever, I wouldn't probably have a police seat, but I would get a seat that had that nice tongue on it, that when I get the slow speed stuff, just jump up on the tank, turn it around, and then when you get back to cruising, you can sit back a little bit and go. The other big misconception that could be helpful is that when we're taught to get on the right-hand side, we talk about that, because cars are coming. You don't want to get on the left-hand side. The other part is, even just for a couple days, so if you go home and you do nothing else, for 2 days, 3 days, never put your right foot down, for any reason. And all of a sudden, you'll learn how to use the rear brake. All of a sudden, the motorcycle won't be a big deal. And as soon as you're going 10 miles an hour or less, don't use your front brake. So the classic thing is you're coming in for a landing at the lights and you got the whole chapter in front of you, and then you can see the legs come out and then they start running as fast as they can. And then your front wheel gets turned a little bit and then you grab the front brake and then boom, the rest of the chapter circles around, takes pictures, and helps you lift the motorcycle up, right? So as soon as you go non-gyroscopic, less than 20 miles an hour, the rear brake is everything. Front brake has no purpose. Over 10 miles an hour, 90% front brake, 10% rear brake. And so we practice a lot of this at full speed. So we'll come into these patterns at 40 miles an hour. You'll have a chute not even as long as that to come down to stopping distance, and then you got to convert to cone speed and do some dives and turns and all that kind of stuff. So we practice that a lot. And so braking is really important to practice, but also not putting both feet down. So these motorcycles are raised a little bit, makes it easier to turn, and so I can't put my feet flat on both sides either. So get used to that rear foot always covering the brake. When you get to an intersection, never, ever, ever, not even once, put it into neutral. Put 2 feet down at a light, put it into neutral. You're saying, please come pick me up, Lord. I'm done on this earth, because what's coming behind you, you just don't see it. And we've had it 3 times now, riding with, police trained riders and stuff, where you stop at a light nice and calm, and then that truck just doesn't see you, or the person texting doesn't see you. And so always cover the rear brake, always be ready to go, always have your left foot down only, and as you get going, a little bit of brake will make a huge difference to the control you have on the motorcycle. So if you want to go from, duck paddling into a landing and getting going, just drag that little rear brake to get going. Be in a nice attack position, forward in the tank, and just let your eyes trace where you want the motorcycle to go, and you can learn that just in a little bit of parking lot drills, because apparently this is a sport, right? And it's fun to ride our motorcycles, and it's fun to ride them well, and it's a shame that most of us are really tentative. Dave and I met superbike racing. So we're on like a full-on Mossport track going 200 miles an hour, full track racing, and then we come home, get on our Harleys, and start duck paddling around a parking lot. And so that's why we did the police training, and it just makes a huge, huge difference, and it's safer, more fun, all that stuff.